you have 30 marks from this chapter. The word decides means to come to a conclusion. George R. Terry, he says that decision making is the selection based on some criteria. Now when you go for decision making, you always go for a selection. Now what exactly it is? Hello everybody, a warm welcome to one and all. I'm Vidhyaashram from the Department of Commerce and Management in Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence. Welcome to all the students here. Now this chapter, planning and decision making, is very important because you have 30 marks from this chapter. Now you'll be getting a question like what exactly the types of plan we have, or the decision making, the process of decision making, steps involved in planning process. All these other sure questions. Now today we'll learn about the important topic, that is the introduction of decision making. Now we already know what exactly the introduction of planning is. Now in this chapter we have planning and decision making. So decision making is also very important. The firstly, you need to know what exactly is the meaning of decide. The word decides means to come to a conclusion. So you need to come to always a conclusion. Say example, there are three options and you are supposed to decide. Let me tell you here, students, when I say decision, please understand, if you have only one way or one choice, right, it is not a choice at all. You can't take a decision at all, because you should have multiple options only, then you can decide. And when you decide, you come to a conclusion and you reject the other things and you select one particular option. That is called the decision is all about. So what exactly decide is? Decide is to come to a conclusion, or resolution as to what one is expected to do at some later time. We always have resolutions, right? Now what exactly these things are? Now you are supposed to come to one agreement saying that this is what I'm gonna do. So that is what you will be deciding upon. And decision is a choice. So you should have more choices, and then you, in those choices, you will take the best course of action, and then you take that kind of a things, whereby a person comes to a conclusion about given circumstances, or it can be a situation. It represents a course of behavior or action about what one is expected to do or not to do. But you need to understand here. I'll give you one example where you can understand what exactly a decision making is all about. Now, your parents will tell you that you are supposed to take up science, commerce, arts. Now after your 10th, you decided, right? The word decided, right? You decided that I'll be taking commerce. Now what is it? There were so many options. You took the best course of action. Now after first PU and second PU, now what happened is, again there is a decision period, that is which college should we go and we should join. Now there are n number of colleges across India, across Karnataka. Now you decided that we're gonna join to Vidhyaashram. Now what happened is, now you have decided it. So you have selected one among all the options. Now that is what your decision is all about. Now decision making, what exactly decision making is? Decision making is an indispensable part of life. Indispensable part of life. Please understand this. What exactly indispensable part of life is? Innumerable decisions are taken by human being in day-to-day life. That means you have taken decision every day. If I am not wrong, I'll tell you, in a day probably you would have taken 30 to 40 average, I'm just taking, you would have taken a decision. Now, should I eat the breakfast or not? Should I have my lunch at home or somewhere else? Should I, can I, will I? All these things are what you have taken decision one or the time. That is 40 to, regularly if you go with 30 to 40 in average per day, you will take a decision. In that, will all the decisions which you have taken is good? Now you need to calculate, right? Now the next one here is, in business undertakings, decisions are taken at every steps. That means whatever they do, when they go with financial management, they are supposed to take a decision. marketing strategy they need to change, they need to take a decision. So from top to bottom, whatever they are supposed to do, they are supposed to take decisions. So let's go for the next one, that is the definition of decision making. Now there is a definition. When I say definition, students, please understand there are people who have already said what exactly decision making is, and we are quoting their definitions, right? That is what definition is all about. The first one I will go with George R. Terry, and then we will go with J.L. Massey. Now here what happens is, George R. Terry, he says that decision making is the selection based on some criteria. What he says is the selection is based on some criteria from two or more possible alternatives. So I told you, right, if you have only one kind of a thing and then people will ask you to decide, now that is not called decision making, right? They want you to do it. That is what the order they are giving it to you. When can you say there is a decision making involved? When you have more options, right? What George says is at least it should be two or more. He never says one, it says two or more. And decision is all based on the selection, which is again based on the criteria. The next one is a decision can be defined as a course of action consciously. Now you need to understand what is it? Consciously, you should be conscious. Consciously chosen from available alternatives. See here also what exactly they want you to know is alternatives should be there for the purpose of desired result. Now what does the desired result? Now here what happens, I'll tell you here, students. When you go with the real stats of decision making, we will divide it into two. Now for every decisions whatever you take, probability will change. Say 50% and here 50%, let's go with it. You may get a positive or you may get a negative, right? You may get a positive, you may get a negative. Probability, I'm just giving an example. Now when you have two alternatives saying that you are supposed to decide, one you have taken it, you have decided, okay, I'll go with one of the thing. Now again probability is you may succeed or you may fail. But what exactly you are supposed to do is you need to choose those kind of decisions which always favors you. But here in business, the decisions whatever you take will not favor you. The reason is uncertainty, risk involved, macroeconomy, macro environment, you have social environment. There are so many things which are not controllable by us. So what happens is we need to choose those plan or those things which can favor you and say it is like win-win action. That is, you should always be in a positive one. So that is what all the companies in globe, they actually perform the decision making the way it is which favors them. So please understand this, and even you can take up in your own life saying that whenever you want to decide something, you need to think that should I take this or I shouldn't. So everywhere whenever you go for it, always go with evaluating the plan which you have taken it. Before taking the decision, you are supposed to examine what will happen if I do it. Usually what happens is you people spontaneously you take up a decision and then you feel that it is right. I'll tell you, don't do that. Take your own time. Now you people are at your home, right? Now what is that you should do? You need to plan that what am I supposed to do after 5 years? Though it is a long-term plan, what is it? I want you people to decide right now that and then move on with the same plan. Find out all the alternative. What is that in life you want? And when you realize that, yeah, this is what I want to do it, now take that as your decision and then move on. Let's go with the next one. The next one here is features or characteristics of decision making. Now, the features and the characteristics both are same here. I'll be telling you what are the features and the characteristics of decision making. The first one is a rational thinking. You need to always have a rational thinking. It is invariably based on a rational thinking. Since the human brain, with its ability to learn, remember, and relate many complex factors, makes the rationality possible. So here what happens when you go for a decision making, as Messi, he's actually told you that it always go with what you really feel like, right? And Messi also, he says that here when you go with it, it's all about what you really want to do. That is the most profitable way it is. So here, rational thinking in the sense, we people will be able to take the things like ability to learn, remember, and relate many complex factors. Now that is what it makes us a related, that is rational thinking. Next is, it's a process. It's a process. It is never ending process. When I say process, it has steps. Now, when I'll be explaining you about steps in decision making, you will understand why it is called as a process. It is a process followed by deliberation. That is, it should happen, and reasoning. Now, why should it happen? Now, deliberation in the sense there is an obligation. Yes, it should happen. Now, many a times you people have taken decision, but later you found out that the decision what you have taken was wrong. The reason is what? Because it's a process. Now, in that particular point, you will actually feel that what will I do after that? Again, for that you will take one more decision. Now, that's why it is called a process. See, in life, it is always like life is full of calculation. Life is full of puzzle. Life is full of questions. Life is full of answers. The reason here is, for every problem, there is a solution. For every solution, later after some time, you will again get a problem. That's why decision making is a process. Next one is selective. Now, when you go for decision making, you always go for a selection. Now, what exactly it is? It is selective, that is, it is choice of the best course among alternatives. Now, I told you only one kind of a thing is there, option is there, and you are supposed to, we never consider that as an option because it is only one. Now, decision making is all about what you select. I'll give you an example here. Your mom wants to prepare dosa, chapati, idli, or whatever it is, right? Now, what is that she has done? Why is that she is preparing it? Because she has taken a decision that Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or morning, this is what I am supposed to prepare so that my child will eat. Now, that is what? Her decision. The reason is what? The best course. She always wants the best thing which the child should eat. Now, understand here. In other words, decision involves selection of the best course from among the available alternative courses that are identified by the decision maker. Now, who is the decision maker while preparing your food? That person will actually find the best possible or the best alternative only for you people. One more type I'll just tell you. Now, you are supposed to go to a trip. Now, you won't decide only one particular place. You will actually have too many options. In that, what happens is, you will take the best of the best where you can actually have a lot of fun. And that is what the decision making is all about. Next one we have is purposive. Now, here purposive in the sense, it is usually purposive. It relates to the end. It relates to the end. The solution to a problem provides an effective means of the desired goal or end. So, it is always what? It relates to the end. Next one, positive. Although every decision is usually positive, sometimes certain decisions may be negative and may just be a decision not to decide. Not to decide. I'll give you an example here. Now, the German company Volkswagen, now they had one kind of a standard, that is, we won't change the size, shape of the car. We will sell those cars. Now, they have taken their own decisions. Now, they'll never change their size, nor the weight, nor the design. They won't change anything. They'll go with the same kind of a cars. Now people started to buy Volkswagen because see, understand the word Volkswagen. Though the company was made by Nazis, that is Hitler and his party, Nazis, when they started to make it, there is a history behind it saying that when Hitler saw his soldiers were riding bike and motor vehicles, he thought, why is that they are not coming in car? And then one of the soldiers said, to buy a car, we need more money and it is expensive. Now Hitler, within no seconds, he decided and he said, we'll start making cars only for people who can afford for it. Now that's why it says Volks in the sense people, Wagen in the sense vehicle. So it's a people's vehicle. And then they started to make it. Later the World War happened, you know what exactly it is. Then Volkswagen company remained and they had their own managing director, board of directors. They started to manufacture more vehicles. People started to actually buy it. Now they decided that we will not change whatever it was before. We will go with the same standards. After a certain time, what happened is, slowly the sales of Volkswagen was coming down. Now everybody started to think why the sales are coming down. One of the marketing manager, he proposed one of the beautiful design and he said, sir, we need to change the car design. Everybody said, no, it is against our policy, we can't go for it. Then after so many years, they figured it out that whatever the manager, he said, the marketing manager and the design manager, they said that, production manager, it is correct. We need to change the way the century is changing, the way people are changing, the way the world is changing. Only then, again what happened, when they changed the design of the car, again decision is that. Then they made more profitability than before. See, that's why majority, when I say, yes, positivity is more, but there are few decisions which you shouldn't have taken it. But how and when you will understand only after the result comes. Like you people. 10th standard, you really wanted to study more and get 80 or 90 or 100, but you couldn't do it. Then you decided, okay, in first PU I'll do it. But still what happened, though you decided, you didn't do it. Then the question to you is, okay, second PU is there, we'll do it. Now you need to understand what you have decided, did you achieve it? So what I have planned, I'll tell you, there is a demerit of planning, that is, all plans will not lead to success. The same way, whatever you decide, it is not just positive, it can also be a negative. So whenever you decide something, I tell you students, you also should have that rational thinking, reasoning out whether whatever I'm doing is right or wrong. Let's go with the next one, that is the commitment. Now when you go with decision making, you are supposed to have a strong commitment. Without a proper commitment, if you go for a decision making, I'll tell you, you will not succeed in whatever the plan you have taken. Every decision is based on concept of commitment. Every decision is based on a concept of commitment. In other words, the management is committed to every decisions taken for two reasons. So the management is committed. Once what you have decided, you are supposed to stick on to the same. It promotes the stability of the concern, and every decision taken becomes a part of the expectation of people involved in the organization. That is one more thing. So here you need to understand that whenever you take any decision, it becomes what? It is stability of the concern. And one more is, every decision taken becomes a part of expectations of the people involved in the organization. So these are the characteristics and features of decision making. If you have any doubt regarding this, please call us, message us. We are always there to help you out. Vidhyaashram is the only college which is doing everything for the students. And thank you so much. I'll see you when I see you.